I think you're going to see some of the subsidies and incentives being heavily scrutinized, maybe looking at the actual economics, and they're not always great once, they really get distilled down. I certainly don't think that it's going away, but the narrative has changed quite a bit, as I'm sure you guys have noticed since 2020. I mean, you hardly hear ESG anymore. And I mean, that was all anybody was talking about a few years ago. I think reality has set in. The narrative has turned much more towards traditional energy sources fueling the transition to the extent the transition is going to happen. I think the timelines are getting further and further out. Interestingly, I was reading a little bit a couple days ago about how there's really a very poor correlation between the oil and gas industry and what party is in power in the White House. It really historically has not made a huge difference. What makes a much bigger difference is, oil prices, tech, pandemics, wars, weather, business cycles, things like that. They've got an outsized influence over, the presidency. So, I don't know that the incoming administration is going to cause any wild changes, but what I do think is that we're going to see it much easier to develop on federal lands. I think that we're going to see hopefully some of the LNG export facilities really come online. I'd certainly love to see natural gas prices in the Haynesville and elsewhere get a little bit of a bump. So I think these are very realistic, outcomes. On the flip side, a drill baby drill mentality is wonderful, but too much of a good thing isn't always a good thing.